How about that cigar?
How about that cigar?
Guys, what night is it? It's Tuesday night. It's our favorite night of the week. Welcome to episode number 44 of How About That Cigar Live. We are here on Facebook. If you guys would please do us a favor, take 1 second and share us out right now to your favorite Facebook cigar groups. As always, if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them for us live during the show, and we will add those on to the list. We want to thank you for joining us. As always, we are coming to you live from the Drew Estate Cigar Studios here at Sodi Cigar Shop in Stillwater, Minnesota. And Drew Estate would like to announce the reopening of the Cigar Safari program. It is the ultimate experiential cigar tour to Esteli, Nicaragua, hosted at La Gran Fabrica Drew Estate for 4 days and 3 nights. Since 2008, Drew Estate has been industry leader in cigar tourism through their Cigar Safari program. Safari presents an opportunity for consumers and retailers to take a once-in-a-lifetime trip to Drew Estate's Nicaraguan cigar factory and explore the ecotourism of Nicaragua. At La Gran Fabrica Drew Estate, guests learn the entire process of creation from seed to cigar, including the magic experience of blending their own cigars. While visiting Subculture Studios, attendees will also have Drew Estate's very own art team create and custom paint an item of their choosing. The experience is truly unforgettable and unique among cigar manufacturers. For more info on all of that, please visit cigarsafari.com. So, Garrett, I heard there might be a little bit of a football game coming up this weekend. No?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some kind of bowl, something or other.
Like the Orange Bowl?
Orange, I don't know, some kind of bowl. The San Francisco 96ers and the Kansas City Barbecues, I think, are playing a football game. Baby backs. The baby backs, yeah. So look forward to watching, that game with your friends, smoking some cigars, eating some great food, and for some of us, unfortunately, working while the game's going on.
Oh, I gotta work.
Wah, wah.
But I'll be able to watch it after.
Yeah. So, guys, if you missed last week's show, be sure to go back and check it out. You can check it out on Facebook or on YouTube, or listen to the audio podcast on your favorite audio podcast platform. We interviewed Mr. Scott Pierce from the PCA. Very interesting, very provocative interview, if you ask me.
Ooh.
So check it out. It was provocative.
Provocative.
I know, right? I know.
Like it.
So we have some super special guests this evening. We're very excited to have them on. And I'm going to wade through my paperwork here as we get into our opening segment with our special guests. As always, brought to you by Corona Cigar Company and coronacigar.com. They are the internet's largest and easiest to use virtual cigar store. Corona Cigar Company offers you the finest handmade cigars, humidors, and cigar accessories at the absolute lowest possible price. And you will also find unique and limited cigars containing Florida sun-grown tobacco. As a proud American, President and founder of Corona Cigar Company, Mr. Jeff Borshowitz, believed it was possible to bring cigar tobacco farming back to Florida. At Corona Cigar Company and coronacigar.com, you'll find the best selection anywhere in the world of cigars containing this special Florida sun-grown tobacco. If you live in Florida or are just visiting, be sure to visit any of the great Corona Cigar locations in downtown Orlando, Sand Lake, Lake Mary, and also the Davidoff of Geneva Lounge in Tampa. For more info on all of that, please visit coronacigar.com and floridasungrown.com.
How about Black Mamba?
Oh, yeah, let's touch on that briefly.
Yeah.
So big loss.
Huge loss. And I don't think it's I saw a lot of backlash, people saying there were other people on that helicopter, and absolutely, and their lives are just as important, but they weren't in the public eye. They weren't a part of, major culture.
Yeah, that's something you have to take into account. I mean, it's totally understandable that people would say that. There's definitely other people on that flight.
There totally was.
But you look at the whether you're a fan or not, you look at lives impacted by certain people, and he was one of those people who impacted a lot of others. So
hugely. And so just prayers out to all of those truly close to the family of all of those that were lost.
Yeah. And absolutely.
We lost an icon, though.
Yeah, he will be missed, but he's got a great legacy behind him.
Huge.
And hopefully people in that circle will continue that legacy on. I think they definitely will.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah. So, guys, let's bring in our special guests this evening from Blind Man's Puff. Please welcome Mr. Emmett Malone and Zane Gamble to How About That Cigar Live. Guys, how you doing?
Boom.
Hello. Super
Welcome
duper.
to the show. Emmett, you're coming to us from Littleton, Colorado, correct?
That is correct.
And Zane, where are you live from?
I am currently in Portland, Oregon.
Portland, Oregon, in a beautiful, beautiful hotel room. Unfortunately, Zane is not going to be able to smoke with us this evening, but that's okay. That's okay, because Emmett and Garrett and I will make up the slack on your behalf.
Mm-hmm.
Emmett
I said I'd pay the cleaning bill, but he wasn't down for that.
Emmett smokes like twice as fast as me anyway, so he'll do double the work.
There's no way that's true.
So what we're going to do, because we have Blind Man's Puff on the show, we're going to smoke some blind cigars. So we sent some cigars to those guys, and they sent us some cigars, and we are going to cut and light these right now. While we are doing that, since Zane, you have your hands free since you're not going to be lighting up a cigar,
Yes.
why don't you give our viewers and listeners just a little bit of a background and idea of Blind Man's Puff, what it's all about, and what you guys do in cigar media.
Yeah, so Blind Man's Puff, like the name entails, we do all our tasting blind. We have panels of 4 to 5 tasters who are, smoking 3 to 4 cigars a month, kind of putting everything in their words. So we pretty much leave it up to them what kind of notes they're getting, and at the end we kind of formulate everything and tabulate and post the reviews with some pictures. The whole premise of what we do is just honest cigars, honest reviews. It's nice. It's a different experience, Matt, as you know. Smoking cigars without bands, you really kind of get to think past it and really discover what you like.
Yeah. And it's and pretty much everybody knows, because I talk about it a lot, is that I really got my start with Blind Man's Puff. I was with you guys for a few years and had an absolute blast doing the blind cigar reviews and hanging out in Vegas covering the trade show. And I was super excited that we were able to have you on the show and get other people introduced to what you guys have cooking over at Blind Man's Puff.
We missed you, buddy. I had to do the interviews myself this last year. It was rough.
No, it was good. I thought you guys did a great job.
Yeah.
I held the camera very well.
You did hold the camera very well. It was very steady. So,
we say we miss Matt, but I think I talked to you at least 32 times a day already, still every day for the last.
We do.
They still, even though I'm not with the Blind Man's Puff group anymore, they still allow me in the chat, and it's a lot of fun hanging out and chatting with you guys and making fun of a lot of things we see out there in the world, because it's kind of a good place to vent because there's some really there's some
It's
really
a safe space.
Yeah, it's a safe space to call other people idiots, which I
we do daily.
Well, Rithdi, thanks for watching.
Hey, Rithdi, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. So while we're tasting these wonderful cigars here, and this one, I have to say, this cigar is starting out very nicely. It's looks like a Connecticut shade wrapper, I think. This number 1 that you sent to us, and it's had a nice sort of a clean, sort of grassy cold draw to it. But the first few lights, really kind of mild and got some, really creamy kind of texture to it, and I am digging it a lot.
Those Ron Mexicos are way tastier than you'd expect.
The Ron Mexicos are indeed.
Yeah, I think this one you sent me is a bit stronger than the one I sent you. This is a powerhouse right off the bat for sure.
Yeah, when I sent the two, I couldn't decide which order to put them in. So honestly, I kid you not, at the last minute, I flipped a coin before I gave the numbers. So
all right, yeah, I set you up with the slightly lighter shade one first.
I'm digging it.
Yep.
Very much. So guys, there's a lot of stuff going on in the premium cigar world right now. I'm sure you're aware of everything just because you guys cover it. But I want, while we're smoking these cigars and while we're hanging out together, I want to get your thoughts on, obviously we've talked about it a lot, and so many people around the cigar world have talked about everything that's going on with the big PCA trade show and the big companies that are dropping out. So I want to get your thoughts on what you think it means to the industry as a whole, what you think it means to the trade show, and what you think it means to the companies who dropped out. of the big trade show. So Emmett, let's start with you.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's just a really weird time right now where I don't think anybody knows what's going to happen. It could literally go either way. I mean, next year we could be talking about, things are back to normal and, everybody's reconciled, or we could be talking about how there is no show and everybody's scrambling to go to TPE or whatnot. It's just a super weird time, and I don't have any real solid prediction of where it's going to go from here, but it's definitely a sad time to see everybody so divided when we're already, divided as a country. We have to divide about more things. It's kind of crazy and sucks for a lot of reasons. There's really no winners in this situation besides maybe TPE.
Did you guys listen to David Garofalo's view into this?
I did. And Davis, as he's wont to do, is he does not sugarcoat anything at all. So
ever since I listened to that, like I cannot formulate a different opinion, right? Like when he was going on about how it's the division of where PCA, they did throw their hat into the ring against machine-made cigars and flavored cigars, and they're really pushing that premium cigars are only X amount and up. And after he kind of formulated like these are the companies that have a lot of each of that, like even Davidoff, right? They do a lot of the machine-made cigars and their little Puritos. So ever since then, that's the only thing I can think of.
That's a good point.
A fair point too.
And that's one of the things that I've talked to a few people over the last, 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks that it's been since the announcement. I have a feeling that, and this is my opinion based on what I've learned. I'm no expert, but I have a feeling that a lot of this hinges around flavored products.
Mhm.
And that's where, and I don't think that's the case for everybody involved, but I think for a lot of these companies involved,
we're definitely a factor.
Yeah, yep. I think it's got to be a huge factor. And do you guys think that it's important that the industry, that the premium industry as a whole, gets behind flavored tobacco, or do you think that the premium industry should play a role in that at all?
It's a tough question. I mean, the word premium itself is tricky in that situation because does premium mean cost? If so, then acid would qualify. But if you're defining it as, what you think of as a traditional, celebratory cigar or whatever, however you define it, it's tricky. I don't have the answer to that.
Because I don't look at acids and immediately think flavored cigars, right? Like, I mean,
same here.
I just don't. Like, they definitely have their infused or whatever, but that's not the category I think of acid. I think of like, more of the cherry flavored cigars and things like that. That's really what I think about.
Yeah, for me, my dividing line is machine made versus hand rolled,
sure.
Because acid cigars at their core are hand rolled premium long filler cigars.
Yep.
And then if you smoke one of them before it goes through the infusion process, it'll taste like any other non-infused, non-flavored product off the shelf. But it's that infusion that obviously changes them, and the sweetened tip as well. But I think maybe machine made is going to be kind of the line of demarcation, but it's really, like you guys said, it's really hard to say what things are going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, from the perspective of the FDA, that doesn't matter. Like, they're seeing a cherry flavored cigar or whatever flavor it is. Even if it costs $12, they're still going to see you as targeting minors for that, which is unfortunate. But someone's going to have to draw a line somewhere, and somebody's going to get hurt.
No minors paying $9 for an acid.
Well, probably not. But.
Right.
Well, and so many people in tobacco like to equate cigars with alcohol. And if we really want to look at drawing parallels, you've got vodkas and gins and other spirits that are infused or flavored with other things, and yet they don't have nearly the scrutiny that premium cigars do.
Yeah, and who in high school didn't go to town on some flavored vodka?
God.
Well, yeah, and the way things are today, I mean, it's so much the flavors that you see on vodkas today seem to be, and I'm not throwing the liquor companies under the bus, but I'm saying some of these flavor names that are out there are so non-adult as far as I'm concerned. I'm not saying, I say make what you want to make and drink what you want to drink and smoke what you want to smoke. But when you've got vodka flavors that are called like birthday cake surprise,
Whipped cream. They have the whipped cream vodka too.
whipped cream vodka. I mean it, and then they like you said, the FDA doesn't bat an eye at that. But then when you've got a premium hand rolled cigar that happens to also be infused with some natural oils and things like that, and have a sweetened tip, the FDA goes ape shit over it.
Yep.
So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how things.
Yeah, I mean, if getting a break on traditional premium cigars comes at the price of heavy regulation on flavored cigars, is that a trade-off we're willing to make?
Or is it a stepping stone to the next,
I don't know.
which is all premium cigars, right? It's that whole you give a little, they take more mentality, right? Even like the whole 21 years and older, right? Like all the states started, and once each state kept falling, it was just a matter of time before it made its way federally.
Yeah. Well, and for me, it's and we talked a little to Scott Pierce about this, and I really think that the PCA's number one goal is a premium cigar exemption.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't blame them, honestly. If that's the number one goal of the PCA, I don't blame them for that being the number one goal. And I think if that means that flavored cigars, I'm not saying that they're throwing flavored cigars under the bus, but if flavored cigars tend to have less of a priority when it comes to what the PCA is going to put our money towards fighting against, I kind of am okay taking that trade-off.
See, David Garofalo's got in your head too, because that was exactly the thing he said, right? That,
he did.
we still will fight, but we can't put all the money. You can't put everything toward that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think until we have a, like Emmett was alluding to earlier, until we have a clear definition of what it means to, premium cigar, what that means, there's always going to be a battleground, you know.
Yep.
And but I agree, the smart money is on non-flavored hand-rolled cigars.
Yeah.
For lobbying efforts.
Yep. Definitely.
So let's do some quick tasting notes, just because I'm trying to hold this cigar up against my shirt so you can see. This is a thin ring gauge cigar. I don't know exactly. I want to say it's maybe a 40 or a 42. I can't tell exactly, but
go 42.
Typically thinner ring gauge cigars, have an issue holding onto the ash. Well, this thing is not having that problem at all. It is just super solid ash that I'm actually going to knock off right now because I don't want to get cocky. But and the flavors from it are really they're really mild, but they're also really good. There's this sort of creamy texture to it, and there's like some I don't know, roasted kind of almond kind of thing cooking in the background, and a little bit of cedar. So I'm very much digging it a lot. What are you getting there, Garrett?
I'm almost getting, it sounds almost Candela-ish with that, the cold draw, that grass. I'm still getting some of that grassy flavor, but in a good way.
Yeah. It's really clean.
It is. It's clean,
really clean.
Yeah, that's a good descriptor. It's a clean grass, smooth, with maybe just a hint of like a white pepper.
A white pepper.
On the,
not a black pepper or a red pepper, but a white pepper.
Yeah.
Or do we have to say white pepper?
White pepper with whipped cream.
So, Emmett, what do you think of that number one?
So I'm really enjoying this. It's pretty strong. It's got some really good, interesting spice to it, almost like a cayenne pepper. It's like a red pepper, I want to say, and there's definitely some black pepper in there too, and maybe underneath that, a little bit of woodiness, a little bit of nuts. That's what I'm getting. Mostly the spices though, but in a good way.
Nice.
The draw's about perfect.
I'm tasting sadness and regret.
Didn't you have a sandwich back there? You could tell how it tasted, or
yeah, it's habanero-y and chickeny and hints of slaw.
And
There
it
we go.
and it smells like hotel room.
God, this room is gonna. Yeah, I really feel bad for whoever gets this room next because that sandwich is gonna. It's gonna be in the curtains.
Is it the sandwich or what your body does to that sandwich afterwards that's going to destroy it?
Both. Both. It's a team
Probably-
effort.
Probably the
Team
most
effort.
innocent thing those curtains have seen in a long time.
It is Portland after all.
Yeah.
Just don't go all Westgate on the bathroom.
Oh,
This is a brand new hotel, so I'm hoping I'm still in the safe area.
Oh man, sorry, I had to throw Wes under the bus. Just Wes because I love him.
well, you know what happened to Wes last year, right?
No, I gotta know.
So he
Okay, well, I have to know.
totally
You
missed the
revealed it
show
on the
last
show.
year. Totally missed it completely
He completely. Oh, okay.
Because
Yeah.
he was sick
because he was sick
That's.
in the bathroom.
in the bathroom.
Oh my. I have no comment. I
He
just.
pulled,
So-
he pulled a Wes.
So I went to each booth that we went to, and if anybody mentioned his name, I told him he has anal cancer. That's why he didn't be here.
Skip Martin believed it. He was like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry." It was great.
That's fantastic.
I was drinking.
Yeah, water just came out of Garrett's nose. It was pretty sweet. So
Damn it.
with all this stuff that's obviously going to happen to the upcoming PCA show for 2020, do you guys have a feeling that's gonna? Do you think it's going to continue on? These big four, well, and since then more are dropping out. Do you think this is going to continue with them staying away and more people dropping out, or do you think 2021 is going to see an upswing again?
I think it 100% depends on how the PCA responds. Like if they actually step up and make some legitimate changes, which let's be honest, they need to. Like it's not just those four companies that are looking for change here. I mean, I have my own thoughts on what they need to do differently, but they definitely need to start listening to their customers, which is these manufacturers is one of their customers. Maybe not the biggest, but they need to start listening. And I think if they do that, I think they can bring these guys back to the table. And I could see us having like, two kind of competing shows for a while. But I could also see it going the other way, and nobody shows up next year.
Did you guys see Lito's letter?
I did.
Yeah, that was a very good letter. Really,
I,
really heartfelt, and hopefully maybe have an impact.
I hope it has an impact. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I was really hoping to see more letters. I mean, that was put out last week, 1 week today, and sadly, I haven't seen another one like it. But
I have seen, maybe not so extensive. I mean, I've seen a few companies come out and make very
supportive, but
definitive and supportive statements, but they
Yep.
didn't go like Lito
Yeah.
kind of really went all out and wrote a very
old school.
sort of
Yeah.
passionate letter.
Yep.
But I think there's a lot of people out there that are still vocally expressing their support.
Yeah.
What's from from 2019? What are, because obviously every year there are so many cigar releases every year, and as much as we would love to, smoke all the new releases, there's just not enough time. Can you guys name one or two of the big time cigar releases, or even medium time? I just made up a word. Cigar releases from 2019 that you guys haven't had the chance to smoke yet, but you're excited to try.
Ooh, that I haven't. Zane, you got one?
That I have no. I've had the pleasure of smoking everything I wanted, but from this last year's release, I can't think of anything that I actively would like to that I haven't. I think the one thing that I did love and smoked over and over was the Numero Uno by Hoya.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I can think of two. The first one would be the HBC 500 year anniversary. I haven't got my hands on that one yet, but it actually made our list, which is cool, but I haven't tried it yet. And the other one, which I'm kicking myself for not buying a box of, is that Illusione Epernay 10th anniversary.
Yeah, I'm also kicking myself for not getting my hands on that.
Yeah.
I love the Epernay line, like in all forms and fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will tell. I don't want to spoil it, but that HVC 500 is ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, now I got to go buy a box.
It's truly outstanding. And Coop actually mentioned something on his show last week or a couple of weeks ago that I completely agree with when he said this, and that is, I think, a cigar that is going to age exceptionally well. So I'm looking forward to setting a few of those aside and revisiting in a year and in 2 years and that kind of thing, because I think it's going to be super good.
I've always been a huge fan of their cigars in general. I think
Yeah.
the first one I fell in love with was the Pen Caliente.
Yeah, same here.
Man.
Yeah, that one's
Yeah.
so
I
under
liked
the
it.
radar. So good.
Yeah, I always liked it in that 109 size.
Yeah.
Love that cigar.
That was the first HVC cigar that I smoked, and it really sort of caught my attention. So that made me go out and buy a few more cigars from that brand, and I think they're doing a very good job.
It was the same experience for me. I smoked that, loved it. Got a couple of La Rosas in different sizes each time. Love them.
Sorry, I'm puffing away on this number one cigar, and it's the retrohale there's like floral, the mixing in with the grassy. There's like this floral kind of, but it's not like it's not like potpourri, but there's this sort of, I don't know, I can't even describe it. There's this sort of weird floral thing that's great going on the retrohale, and also kind of the sweetness that
I feel you.
I really enjoy the cigar very much.
So far, I totally agree with everything you said about that cigar.
Oh, nice. I'm not crazy, because I've been a little, and this is my excuse cone moment. I have an excuse cone, but I've seriously been under the weather the last couple days, and took for me, Saturday was our big Minnesota Herf connection, winter Herf, so I smoked a ridiculous amount of cigars that day. But I didn't smoke any cigars Sunday or Monday, which for me is like a miracle that I go 2 days without having a cigar. And I just wanted to take a couple days off because my system, I don't feel sick, but I feel like I'm about to get sick, and I don't want to I want to keep my systems clean in case there's any kind of coronavirus building up in my system.
Oh, don't say that.
As I'm traveling this week, thanks, man. Did you, Matt? Speaking of smoking every day, did you in your new lovely house that you moved into? Did you get you a smoking area?
Yes, and no.
Yeah, that sound.
So I've got the third stall of the garage, and
Smart.
when it's not really cold, that's where we usually do the podcast. And I bought a nice natural gas furnace and hung it from the ceiling, but I haven't had the time to run the gas line and the electrical and all that stuff to it yet. So it's just it's not quite ready to go yet. But the guys at Sodi's Cigars here in Stillwater have been fantastic to let us use the shop on Tuesday nights for the show. So, but when it's warm enough, I got a space heater and I can still go out there and use that as my cigar review space. But my lovely wife is still, her goal is still for me to build a separate building in the backyard, which is still the plan, to build a dedicated cigar building in the backyard with all the toys and TV, internets, and comfy chairs, and so
You deserve it.
I do deserve it.
A sauna.
Thank you. I hope, Amy, if you're watching,
Please call it.
No,
a
you
she
don't.
said.
No, you don't deserve her. That's a different story.
I don't deserve her, and that is by
Yeah.
far the truest thing you've ever said. I outkicked my coverage by about 18 trillion yards. Definitely.
Sauna. It needs a sauna.
It needs a sauna. No, our last house had a sauna, and I sold it because I didn't want a sauna in my house. But no. So before we get, I know we can't get through these cigars like from beginning to end, but let's go ahead and do like some final notes, and maybe like if we had to give this cigar a score right now, what would we give it? Emmett, what are your final thoughts on that one?
I'm sad I have to put it down because it's actually changing a little bit here as we get towards the middle. It's like
Oh, that's where that one gets good.
yeah, I'm still like I'm still getting a bunch of spices, but it's like maybe some clove or something. It's like something where you stick your head in the spice cabinet and can't quite put my finger on it, but it's really good. It's kind of calmed down a bit, not as strong. The burn is still amazing. The draw is still amazing. I would give it a solid maybe 92 if I had to put a score on it.
Nice. And if you had any guess whatsoever as to what that cigar is, could you even possibly guess?
I've really got nothing on this one. I would guess it's Nicaraguan, but that's about all I've got.
Okay. Well, we'll give our final notes on this one, and then we'll reveal both of them. So I love this cigar. I would buy a box of this cigar. It's clean, and this would be the perfect first cigar of the day. And honestly, it would fit in somewhere in the middle too. It's definitely mild, but it's got tons of flavors behind it. Still, grassy, floral, roasted nuts, even a little bit of this. I don't know, something on the retrohale through the nose that sort of reminds me of butterscotch, but I can't quite it's some kind of sweetness that I can't really put my finger on, but it's something that maybe reminds me of butterscotch. But
Absinthe?
I dig it, and definitely not absinthe.
No. Okay.
What do you think, Garrett?
No, I'm right there with you on the flavors, and it got just a touch spicier. And I'm trying to rack my brain what this could possibly be, and I'm thinking if I had to make a guess, I would go Nat Sherman.
Okay, I'm thinking it's not Nat Sherman. I'm gonna. So I would, if I had to give this cigar a score right now, I would give it a 91,
90.
And I think this might be a JSK.
That would be funny to do to you, though. It would have been.
I think it might be the JSK Tyrannical Buck Connecticut, but that's just a total shot in the dark. I mean, it's a Connecticut wrap cigar. I think that might be what it is.
All right.
Yep, and I'm going a solid 90, even 90.
Okay. So, Emmett, what are we smoking?
You are smoking a Cuban Cohiba Siglo 2.
Are you shiting me right now?
Nice. I dig it. That is fantastic.
That kind of fits. I mean, Risty kind of gets his inspiration from his days of smoking Cubans, right? So it kind of fits.
And that's the cigar they always say tastes like one.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, and there's the grassy flavor. I mean, duh.
Yeah, grassy, floral. I mean, that's characteristic Cuban right there. So
I just didn't even have that in my.
Yeah, I didn't even have Habanos in my head.
Yep.
But
done.
Yeah. Very.
All right. What am I smoking?
So you are smoking, ironically enough, an HVC cigar. That is the 2019 Black Friday.
Beautiful.
HVC.
I've actually never had any of the Black Fridays, so that's awesome.
It is a Nicaraguan Puro with Habano Cafe wrapper with binder from Esteli and Corojo and Criollo 98 fillers.
One of our reviewers, John, buys like 10 boxes of those.
Yeah,
it kind of surprises me. Like, it doesn't taste like your typical like Aganorsa medium body. It's definitely stronger than I would expect.
Yeah. And I bought these in a box split from John, so that's where I got these.
It all comes around.
Yep, it all comes around.
Emmett, you literally watched him do that box split in our chat.
So to sum up, so to sum up, Blind Man's Puff sent us Ferraris, and we gave you a Cavalier. You're welcome.
No, we gave them. They sent us Ferraris, and we sent them a
Cadillac.
Prius.
Well, you haven't smoked the second one yet, so don't get
Do
you're a real turd. You don't know.
Do you happen to remember the box date on these?
Well, I believe it's mid 2017.
Okay.
Muchas gracias.
De nada.
Yeah, love it. I don't want to put it down.
I know.
No, I don't either.
But I have to. So let's
Light up the second one.
let's fire up number 2.
Mm-mm.
Smoke faster. Hurry.
Yeah.
All right, Zane, do a dance.
Yeah, do a dance. Well, I'll start us off with a question, and Zane, you get to answer first while we cut and light our cigars.
That's my lot in life.
So, what do you think? And this can take on a broad range of responders, but what do you think the most misunderstood thing is about cigar media? And be from the perspective of somebody who works at a cigar company or owns a cigar company, somebody who works for the PCA, a consumer, whatever it is? What do you think the most misunderstood thing is about cigar media?
That's a good question. I feel like there's a huge like difference in their eyes of print media and then kind of like online media. When I feel like we all put out like a lot of great content. We all do pieces, news. I don't, to me, I don't see a huge difference other than we don't print. But I feel like they always get way more respect than what online media does. But I don't see that far a difference of what we put out.
Do you think that? Do you see that changing gradually? Do you think because obviously this is still an industry where online cigar media from certain circles tends to get less respect or can't think of the word I'm thinking of right now, but than print cigar media does. Print cigar media tends to still sort of draw the water from the well more than online. Do you think that's changing?
I definitely think the views from manufacturers has changed in the last few years. Just even me being with you guys going to IPSPR the last couple of years, like I feel like each year it gets a little better for us, right? Like I know this last year we didn't have 10 minutes between interviews, right? Like it was nonstop. Like people were constantly like they kept us booked. We weren't hunting anyone down. Like it does have it's just in the last few years, like it has gotten a lot different for us. Like just the show itself, right? Like people look
Yeah.
for us and they schedule everything ahead of time. We don't just show up at their booth and hope for the best, right? Like it's booked every day.
Sorry, I don't want to give anything away right yet. But Emmett, what do you think about cigar media? What people misunderstand a lot?
I think your average Joe doesn't realize how much work everybody puts into everything. Like how much work goes into this show. I'm sure like people just don't understand. They think you turn on a camera and start talking, but it couldn't be further from the truth. And I think they don't realize how much planning goes into like the top 25 lists, and they're so quick to, some people dismiss it and some people love it. But I think people just don't realize how much effort goes into everything we do and how much time we put into it. We're not in it for the free cigars.
Also, shout out to Average Joe Cigars blog.
Hey, Myron.
Love that guy.
Myron, mine's the best.
I love Myron. So what? There's a lot. I've heard quite a few online cigar media guys say that they thought that 2019 was a really down year for cigars. I have my own opinions about that, but I want to. What do you guys agree in any way? And if so, why?
Maybe.
To me,
go ahead, Zane.
I was gonna say compared to what, right? Like,
Right.
I feel like it's hard to say this year and last year. Like, whenever a lot of the FDA ruling came out, there was a lot of push to get a lot of brands on the market, and you wonder how many of those are carryover for these last years. And like, is 2019 going to be just the norm? And what did this compare to 2010? Right? Like, where was there a spike just like we've seen in the past? Like, to me, I didn't, but I'm not saying it didn't happen.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, there were fewer cigars that I was excited to try, and then fewer cigars that I bought boxes of. But I don't know. It's hard to say. I think the field is still really good. I wouldn't call it a bad year. Just maybe not. Maybe Zane's right. Maybe it is just kind of a leveling off of the crap ton of new releases we're used to.
Do you think that that overall the number of new releases, because of FDA stuff, is because a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe it because of all the FDA stuff, there was a lot of sort of rumblings that we were going to see cigar releases, cut in half, and we were going to hardly see any new products to the market. But I don't really see that. I still see a lot of movement going on. Do you think that's mostly because of predicate stuff, or do you think we're still seeing a lot of new stuff out there?
I think that was kind of a panic move on the behalf of manufacturers just to get something out there because they didn't know. Like, I mean, it turns out that nobody really gives a shit if anybody's releasing new cigars or not, and they're not regulating it right now, so they've kind of learned the loopholes and learned the language to release new stuff. So I think that was kind of a false alarm.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion.
Yeah, and I don't think we're seeing any. Myself, I don't think we're seeing any slowdown. I think I still see lots of new product. I see lots of new stuff to get excited about, and I think, but for the average guy that buys, 2 cigars a week, so 104 cigars a year, they probably don't pay attention quite as much.
Because
But
most of the time they're buying the same brand every week because that's what they like.
Yeah, so they go to, their weekly ritual is they go after work's over on Friday, they go to the cigar shop, they pick the same 2 sticks out of the humidor, they sit down, they smoke them, and they go home. And there's people would be, I think a lot of people, especially like us in the cigar nerd community, so many of them would really genuinely be surprised that makes up a huge percentage of the dollar amounts that cigar companies see every year is the guys who only buy 100 cigars a year.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of us who buy, multiple boxes and stuff
For
like
sure.
that.
I mean, isn't Macanudo one of the top selling cigars?
Absolutely.
Still is. As far as premium hand rolled, non-infused, non-flavored, Macanudo Hyde Park is still number 1.
Yep.
Has been for 30 years.
Yep.
And it's huge. And how many people would we think if their first cigar is going to be a non-flavored cigar, it's probably going to be that Macanudo?
Yep, because that's what their dad smoked or whatever, even, right? And it's very mild, so it's approachable.
Yeah.
I think what we aren't seeing is a lot of new companies. In previous years, you would get, press releases and whatnot from a dozen new companies that would come out that year and try and either have a booth or not. But there really hasn't been many lately, besides the only one I can think of off the top of my head is Ace Prime. But there haven't been a lot of new companies, but there are still new cigars.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that's, we see a couple things. I've seen one thing recently that is sort of, I guess technically you would call it a new cigar brand, but I think it's more retailer owned. And I definitely want to learn more about it just to see, what it's all about and where they're being made and things like that. But I think they also do a podcast. I think it's the Cigars Daily.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's called American Viking Cigars or something like that. And again, I've barely heard the first thing about it, just a few things that I've read here and there. But so even then, there's still, it's cool. There's still some new stuff happening. And Ben Holt came, resurrected the Dissident brand, which I think is pretty cool.
Alec and Bradley.
Yeah, Alec and Bradley are doing stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool to see some younger people get their hands in there and start working and putting products out there that honestly, if we've got the, that next generation of premium cigar smokers that are age 21 to 35 or whatever, maybe if they can get excited about brands other than, the stuff that their father or their grandfather were interested in, maybe that'll keep things going and give some more momentum for the future, hopefully.
But I think, you have this looming thing called the FDA that is scaring so many people from, creating, be it a labor of love or whatever, because of what could happen. And until we really get this thing licked, I bet it's going to be as slow as it's been until that really comes to a head. And
yeah.
What did you guys think of Nick Jonas being on the cover of Cigar Aficionado?
I loved it.
I did too. I loved it.
I think it's fantastic. I think it's great for the premium cigar culture. I think it's great for the, like I said, I think for the future of premium cigars, I think guys like that are going to be the future of the industry, as long as because he caught some flack for it. So as long as he doesn't overreact to those, those internet trolls and just sticks to his guns and is like, hey, I am who I am and I like what I like and get over it.
Yep.
And if we see more people like that, men and women alike who are younger and in the public eye and express an enjoyment of premium cigars, I think I say go for it. Do it more.
Pop music, right? It's popular. It's a good place.
Yeah. Let's get the guys from Hanson on the cover next.
Aging
Are they still alive?
I don't know. Let's somebody out there who's watching leave comments. Let's do a health check on
this. Google what happened to Hanson.
Yeah, VH1. Where are they now?
So what? Well, let's do a quick tasting note on cigar number 2. Emmett, what do you think of that one?
I'm enjoying this one too. It's definitely a different one from the first one. It's definitely more medium bodied, I would say. Not really getting the spice from the first one. I would classify this one as like earthy. Getting some definite like mineral, a little bit of leather flavor in there. That's about what I'm getting right now.
That sounds about right to me. I dig it.
Mm-hmm.
This one, so before I lit this one up, I kind of thought I might know what it is until I lit it up, and then I was like, oh no, I was wrong, because what I thought it was, I have already smoked a couple of, and I'm not getting the same things from this as I did from that. But I'm getting a lot of like wood notes from this, like charred oak, charred cedar, that kind of thing. And it's not a bad cigar. It's performing very nicely, but so far it's kind of Johnny one note. But I am definitely enjoying, what I'm getting from it. It just really hasn't given me much more than like those kind of charred wood flavors, maybe a little bit of sweetness on the retrohale and a little bit of pepper, but it's not overly peppery at all.
Yeah. Did you think it was San Andreas?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not convinced that it's not.
I don't want to give it away yet. I will at the end, but when I first saw it, I was very convinced that it was a particular cigar, and then
me too.
Yeah, well, I fired it up and I said, nope, not it. Now I'm going to be super embarrassed if it actually was it. But
do you want to say what you think it is? Just because I'm curious.
Not yet.
Okay.
I'll reveal at the end what I thought it was, and then maybe what I think it is. But now that I don't think it is what I originally thought, I hesitate to even guess. So we'll see.
It was what you thought it was.
They are who we thought they were. What do you guys? Obviously, 2020 is just getting underway. TPE is happening pretty much as we speak. A lot of movement going on there. But as far as some of the rumblings so far, we've seen of a few new cigar releases and stuff that we already know that is in the pipeline for some companies. Can you think of some stuff that you're excited for, coming up in 2020?
I'm excited for Steve Saka's new Muestra de Saka. That one's got an interesting story to it. What's the name of it? Something Valor, Unstolen Valor.
Unstolen Valor.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, it's really cool. It's not actually his blend. It's Raul Disla's blend, who is the manager at Noxa. It's just a really cool story behind it, and I'm excited that he liked it enough to make it one of his cigars. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah,
me too. And that's a homage to actually my favorite Vietnam era movie.
What's that?
Uncommon Valor.
Uncommon Valor. I haven't seen that movie.
It was Patrick Swayze's very first movie.
Was it really?
With Gene Hackman, and it was a rescue mission to go and get Gene Hackman's son from a Vietnamese prison camp.
Nice.
And great flick if you can find it.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
I can't hear his name without thinking Hackman. Every time.
Oh, I can't. I always think of when I think of Gene Hackman, I always think of Crimson Tide.
Oh yeah.
With Denzel Washington. It was a great movie.
A great movie.
What are you guys drinking?
Well, I'm drinking Diet Coke, and Andrew, who is one of our partners in crime here at
Ooh, Red Solo Cup. Yeah.
brought in this wonderful bottle that I had never tried before, Basil Hayden's Caribbean
Oh, wow.
Caribbean Reserve Rye. So it's finished in rum casks.
Ooh, that sounds
And
yummy.
actually, if it's all right, I'm gonna pour just another little snort because it is really good. I mean, it really it does live up to what the label says. It's you first drink it and you definitely get. I mean, it's rye right off the bat, but then the finish, you give it a good 10, 15 seconds after, after that pull, and it's like rum all the way. The whole finish is just pure sugar cane rum. It's really, really very good. I had never tried it. So, Andrew, cheers, buddy.
And I've got Ice Mountain, 100% natural spring water.
Beautiful.
It's got a nice smooth finish. It's got a clean
It's very clean.
on the palate.
Yep.
Okay, can we talk about the Ice Mountain scandal? Have you noticed that the bottles are thinner? They
Oh yeah, dude.
they're not like they used to be. Just saying.
I didn't know that was a scandal.
Scandal. I love it.
I just made that up.
I like it. That's I had no idea that was a scandal.
Well,
but
it's funny. In college, there was this. It was girl on the floor of. Yeah, and she was.
Whoa. You can't start a story with back in college and then add the words girl on the floor and then sort of paused for a long time. Like,
You have
what?
to think about how people are going to view this story.
Yep.
That or statute of limitations. He was doing the math.
Yeah, how long has it been? No. She was a girl on our floor.
Oh, on your floor.
Yeah.
Not on the floor.
Not on the floor.
Okay.
No.
Not on his personal floor.
Yeah.
Both, you don't know.
Who I'm pretty sure she's either in jail or she was one of the environmental Nazis and talked about every and it's all true stuff. Every bottle of water that there's like 100 times the amount of water used to make the plastic that contains the water, which I get, is a thing, but she just, so now every time not every time, but often when I drink a bottle of water, I always think and laugh.
Hasn't stopped you. You just think about it.
No, that's what I do. Yeah. I think
No
about
actual change. Just
no.
Oh man. So what's over the course of 2019, during your cigar season for 2019, out of all the blind review cigars that went out and got published on Blind Man's Puff in 2019, what were some of the what was one of the big surprises when the scores came down for that one?
There were a couple of really high scorers. Having trouble thinking of them off the top of my head. Zane, can you think of any?
No, draw a blank.
Yeah, we had a few that got in the 94, 95s. The Red Meat Lovers Club was like a 95. That was a big surprise. That I loved that one too. But that was kind of a shocker. Oh gosh, what were some others?
We post 12 reviews a month. My head's blown.
I do remember one that you guys, that the panelists absolutely loved. That I think, because I still read it every day, and I think it was like later in the year, like maybe sometime in the fall or winter of 2019. That was the Black Label Trading Company Porcelain.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think that was 94 or 95, maybe even higher.
I think that was 94. Yeah, that cigar is amazing.
The guys loved that cigar, and I also love that cigar.
Yeah, John talked me into doing 4 box splits with him on those cigars.
Yeah.
Oh, the Casa Cuevas La Mandaria got like a 95. That was a big surprise.
Yeah, that's one that still I have heard about from so many people.
I think I read that they're making it a regular production now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be regular release now.
What do you guys think about that? companies that turn a limited production into regular production. I have my thoughts, but I'm curious what you guys think.
I don't know. For me, it depends on how it started out and how long of a run it had as a limited. For me, I mean, if a company puts and the fact is they can do whatever the hell they want. I don't care.
It's a business.
But it seems a little dicey sometimes to me. Just full disclosure: if a company puts out a cigar and says it's a limited edition, and they're really clear about it. I mean, the language in their press releases and all the info they give about the cigar, they're really clear that they want people to know this is the limited edition, hard to find cigar. And then 6 months later or 9 months later, they come out and say this is now a full production cigar. I wish they just let it breathe a little bit longer before they just turn full production.
And I can respect limited production, right? If you have a cigar that you make X amount each year.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm totally okay with like making another limited run, but to just make it regular production it leaves a bad taste in my mouth at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it runs for a few years, and it's still selling out,
right?
Obviously, that's a market demand. But when you get a release that says, "Hey, this is a limited production," that in itself, especially from a reputable, manufacturer, that's going to garner some, hey, this is limited. There's a ton of fanboys. They're going to buy them up. I don't think that's enough for any company to say, hey, I think we got a winner here.
Yeah.
Let it run for a couple years and see if that continues to have the market that you want it to.
Well, it makes me wonder why was it limited edition in the first place?
Are you not sure about it?
When you first released it, was it limited edition because you had a very, very small amount of the tobaccos that went into that cigar?
Right.
Or was it limited edition simply because you were trying to build buzz around it?
Yep.
Could be also that the price of that tobacco, right? Like they could only afford to buy so much.
Yeah.
When it did well, right? Immediately they know they can buy more of it. I mean, that's another thing to think about because sometimes it's all about capital.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Or it could be because maybe they call it limited edition because they're not sure completely how it's going to perform in the marketplace. Although in my mind, if you're putting a blend out there, you should be 100% certain that, I mean, if you're putting the time and effort and money into putting a blend on the market, especially today, you better be damn sure that blend is going to perform in the marketplace.
Especially with what it potentially could cost you in testing later.
Right. If it's multiple Vitolas and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Puff, puff, puff. Sorry, I'm getting some more. Let's do some tasting notes again on this one. So it is still very much prominent with woody flavors, but I'm starting to get a little bit of a leather kind of a kick to it also, and it is starting to also ramp up just a little bit where the retrohale has a little bit more spice to it.
Yep.
But it's still, I'd still call it mild, or not mild. I would still call it medium. Definitely, it's not leaning towards strong or full or anything like that, but it's performing very well. It's burning perfectly.
Yep.
So I have no issues with that whatsoever. And it's a very pleasant smoking experience. What do you think, Garrett?
I will ditto that. It's I haven't gotten any real transitions in the cigar. It is very good.
Yeah,
it is very good, and I'm pretty sure I know what it is.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Emmett, that one looks like it's burning. Pretty
this ash is just about perfect. Can't complain there. It's actually gone up in strength a little bit, so kind of the opposite of the last one. Still getting kind of the same base flavors, earthiness, a little bit of leather. I think the nuttiness has kind of increased a little bit, and maybe just a hint of sweetness, like on the retrohale.
Yeah,
starting to come through. It's definitely super enjoyable.
Nice.
I am still tasting regret and sadness.
Shame.
I can't believe you sent me the same cigars.
Shame. Well, let's move into this week's smokabulary word. And this week's smokabulary word, as always, is brought to you by AJ Fernandez. Born and raised in Cuba, AJ Fernandez now produces unparalleled premium cigars in Esteli, Nicaragua. The day-to-day operations at Tabacalera AJ Fernandez are managed under the watchful eye of Mr. AJ Fernandez himself in order to ensure superior quality. The AJ Fernandez portfolio of premium cigars provides blend, strength, and flavor profiles to match the preferences of any premium cigar consumer. Whether it's New World, Dias de Gloria, San Latano, Enclave, or Bellas Artes, you are sure to be satisfied with a premium cigar from AJ Fernandez. So, guys, this week's smokabulary word is tooth. So, guys, I want you to play along here. What when you hear the word tooth as it relates to cigars, what do you think of?
I mean, the oil, like for me, it's the tooth of the cigar, the wrapper, the oil that kind of forms on the wrapper. That's what I always think of it as.
Yeah, I think it's like the rough texture that you sometimes notice. Kind of looks like if you were to put it under a microscope, it look like acne or pimples. It's just kind of little bumps. Yeah, it's not anything you see on every cigar, but there's definitely some that are more toothy. Usually the darker ones. Cameroon is usually pretty toothy.
Yeah,
you can that's usually a giveaway for Cameroon.
Love it when it feels like sandpaper.
Yeah, you can feel
I just rub it on my face.
You can feel it. You can see it.
Well, Zane, you could do that. You can't smoke the cigar right now, but you could take if you brought it with you. You could rub it on your face.
I could go get it and just rub it on my face for an hour and a half.
I'll just put you only on screen, and we'll talk in the background while we watch you rub the cigar on your face.
You could chew the tobacco in the cigar.
There you go.
That would be a waste of a cigar, but
so yeah, it's that texture that kind of looks like sandpaper. Totally, that's exactly.
Yep.
That's exactly it. And
Padrones.
Padrones, especially the Maduro Padrones.
Yep.
If you see that picture of the Padron TAA that we reviewed, the tooth on, I mean, it seriously looks like 40 grit sandpaper.
Yep.
It's just so bumpy and rustic looking, and all those little pockets are filled with lovely, yummy goodness. All those oils and all that just fantastic stuff inside those little tiny pockets. That's just yumminess, flavor galore inside that. So when you hear guys talk about toothy in the cigar world, that is what we're talking about. It's a toothy wrapper. Why that came to be known as that, I would love to find out someday where the origins of that come from, why it's called toothy. But that's just kind of one of those terms in the cigar world, and that is this week's smokabulary word. So let's move on to Numero de los Muertos.
All right, guys. This week, the number is 7.
The number is 7.
And so the parameters of the 7 are: this is how many die per year in U.S. and Canada on average.
Per year, U.S. and Canada, 7 people die from this.
Yep. But 40,000 take a trip to the ER because of this.
Ooh.
Also U.S. and Canada?
Yes.
So we can take a guess here. Is that the idea?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, man.
How about snowblowers?
Ooh.
Oh, I like that one.
I do too.
I was gonna say moose attacks.
That's a good one too.
Or maybe like garbage disposal repair.
Oh, that's super morbid. And I love it.
That gives me the willies just picturing that happening to somebody. So
U.S. and Canada.
is this are we talking adults or kids or both?
Both.
Both. So 7 per year is not many.
Nope.
But 40,000 ER visits. Is it weather related?
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't want to say it's weather related. No, the weather doesn't have a direct.
It doesn't. Okay.
It's not like hyperthermia or something.
Correct.
Frostbite, right? Yeah.
Correct.
So it could still be a snowblower, is what you're saying.
Yep.
Ooh, like, is it in that family, like a lawnmower?
I think we did a lawnmower one a few months
We
ago,
did.
didn't we?
We did
Oh.
hours, yeah. Actually, Emmett's area is much closer. I should say Emmett's
What do
time
you-
of year.
What do you know about Emmett's area? I mean, that's kind of personal.
It is. I like Emmett's area.
What about falling icicles?
We did that one too.
Yeah, we
Okay.
did that one.
You're gonna shoot your eye out.
BB guns.
Those icicles have been known to kill people.
No idea.
This is a fun activity.
Doesn't sound like it.
Skiing,
Not skiing,
Snowmobiling.
not snowmobiling.
snowboarding.
Mm-mm.
Is it a winter activity?
Mhm.
It's a winter activity.
Ice skating. Ice fishing.
Nope.
That'd be a shitty way to go. Fall through the ice when you're fishing.
Oh.
Oof.
Yeah, every time I'm out on the ice fishing and I hear
That
the ice crack,
And the sun comes out and you hear the
it
whole.
seriously sounds like thunder. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, my sphincter goes whoop. Like-
And keep on running.
So it's a winter activity.
Yep.
40,000 people go to the ER. 7 people die.
Avalanches.
Avalanche was that last week or 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks,
2 weeks
ago was
ago.
I feel like
avalanche.
it's got to be more than 7 for avalanches just in Colorado alone.
Right?
What is it? Snowshoeing?
No.
No. Winter activity.
And I will. So, though it does affect both adults and children, it is a much higher statistic in children.
Hmm.
Not a snowball fight.
Sledding.
What's that?
Sledding.
It is sledding.
Oh,
No way. Are you serious?
Yeah.
wow.
Nice
Sledding.
guess, Emmett.
Yeah.
That's hardcore.
So seriously, 7 people every year die
Every
from
year.
sledding?
Die from sledding. So I think the statistic, 68% of the ER visits are
Concussion.
are concussions from sledding into what?
Trees.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let me-
It's
I-
It is trees.
I totally get it. I mean, when I was growing up, right, we had this gigantic hill behind my house, and we'd go to the top of it and put the sleds down, and you had to aim between the house and like one of our buildings, right? Like, if you missed, you hit the house. Didn't office, so I can definitely see it.
I like
Yeah.
that somebody guessed curling. That's my favorite guess.
Oh, curling.
I love it.
If you die while curling, it's probably from the excess of drinking, not from
Yes,
sexual
For
activity.
sure.
I don't know, man. You watch those people broom? That's insane.
That is.
You have a heart attack.
Yeah, it's from a heart attack
That's
from
what
the
I'm saying.
physical activity.
So, research shows that 30% of children hospitalized following a sledding injury suffered significant head injuries, and 10% of these children acquired a permanent disability.
Wow.
The research supported the need for helmet use and other safety precautions to prevent traumatic sledding injuries. Yeah, that's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put a helmet on my kid. That's asking for trouble.
Yeah.
Can you guess the state that has the most sledding injuries?
Colorado.
Nope.
I would have guessed Colorado too.
Utah.
It is Utah.
Okay. Yeah, I can remember a few times as a kid sledding. And actually, for us, it wasn't sleds, it was tubes. It was tubing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's even
Yeah.
more fun.
Yeah.
I mean, those things get cooking when
Too
you're going down.
expensive. Too
And there
expensive
were-
for poor people.
There were a few times going down these massive hills and jumping over little creeks and just thinking, okay, I should have died. I seriously, it's like a miracle I'm still alive. You know, some of those jumps we were doing, going down, head first. I pretty much should have. I shouldn't be alive today, but I am. So
Yeah, well, and you got to make jumps. And I think
Yeah.
that's where, for me,
the jumps are the best part.
oh
though.
my gosh.
If you're not doing jumps,
You're not- what are you doing?
forget about it.
Yeah.
And here where we live, it's pretty much all flat. We don't really,
We don't-
have any We
No.
don't have any hills or anything like that.
No,
around
we've got
here.
bumps.
Bumps. Yeah, like tooth.
Yeah.
Uh,
And plume.
Areas to
and don't say plume. Damn it! He had to bring up that word. He knows I hate that word. So, guys, let's do a lightning round. Zane, let's go with you first. If you could choose to hear the thoughts of one living person for 10 minutes, who would it be and why?
Oh God.
And you can't say Emmett.
I was gonna say you, Matt.
Me, yeah, right. That would be a dull 10 minutes.
I don't know. I'd really like to know what you really think of Garrett. I promise I won't tell him. Don't worry.
I stay so live on the show every week.
Yeah.
I just let it go. I let it out.
Yeah, he does.
Man, that's a good question. I would say my wife, but I really don't want to know.
Nope. Not enough money.
No, it's just best if I just not be there.
Yep. I can't handle that space. There's too much important stuff going on. I can't process it.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I really have no desire to hear anyone else's thoughts.
Okay. All right. Emmett, what about you?
I'm gonna get controversial. I would like to see what Donald Trump is thinking for 10 minutes.
That's a very popular answer,
It
actually.
is.
That's a very popular
Just to see
answer.
if what's in his head matches what's in his mouth. You know. Be amazing.
Or in his tweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have.
That comes out the other end from the mouth. I'm afraid.
Wait a minute. He's tweeting in Arabic?
Yep.
I can't even go there. I can't even go there. Yikes. All right, Zane. If you were about to get into a fight, what soundtrack music would come on?
Ooh.
Oh, welcome to the jungle.
Yes. That is the first time answer. I love that answer.
That's a great
that would be a
answer.
great song for a fight soundtrack. Emmett, what about you?
Ooh, I would go down Rodeo with my shotgun pumped with Rage Against the Machine.
Nice.
That is a very good answer. That is Rage Against the Machine is
Yep.
going all Matrix.
I love it.
That's great. So we'll do Zane first again. Choose one of the following. You could hit a home run as a starting pitcher. You could score a touchdown as a defensive lineman, or you could score a goal in a hockey game as the goalie.
Which one would I want to be?
Yeah, which
Oh,
choose.
totally the goalie.
Okay. All right. Emmett, what about you?
I got baseball's my sport, so I got to go pitcher for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
I've been at a game where that's happened. It's so amazing.
Yeah, it's and really they're all so rare. That's why I like asking that
Yeah.
because goalie is definitely the number one answer.
It totally is.
But we have gotten a few pitcher.
Couple linemen.
I think only one
Maybe
so
Sean
far.
Williams?
I think Sean Williams was the only one that said lineman.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean honestly, any one of those would be. I mean, that would be killer.
Yeah.
So if you guys could give one piece of advice to new cigar consumers, what would it be?
Mine would be start with an Oliva, Connecticut. That should be your first cigar.
Wow. Brand specific. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Zane, what about you?
For me, it's just because you don't like something in the beginning, don't write it off forever, right? Because your palate and your taste definitely changes.
Amen.
Cigars that I didn't like when I first started, I love now. It's to me, it's interesting just because like my palate went from mild cigars, I couldn't taste them, so I never smoked them. I think my first real premium cigars I smoked were actually Oliva V's, Figurados. So,
Oh wow.
Wow.
you can thank Mickey for that one. And over time, right, I kind of started just going the complete other direction.
Nice. That's a good. I haven't heard that answer before. I like that.
Mhm.
And I can think of now that I think of it, I can think of some cigars that I didn't really care for.
Yep.
10 years ago, but that now I actually reach for kind of regularly.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, that's a good answer. So if you could give one piece of advice to brick and mortar retailers, what would it be?
Don't follow people around like they're going to steal something.
Oh, very,
Ooh.
very good answer.
So good.
Yep. I've, been there.
Because I still get that. Like I need to steal cigars. Like,
Especially places you go to on a semi-regular basis.
yeah, come on. Like, if I need your help, I'll ask for it.
I mean, if you want to come in and chat, that's great. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the weather and the game, but don't just stand there and stare at me.
Yeah.
If you have any questions about your cigars, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. If you could give one piece of advice to the PCA,
Ooh.
what would it be?
Listen to your members.
Mine would be stop it with Consumer Day. Just stop.
I think that's pretty much.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah, I don't think so, guys.
I don't think
feel
it's done, fellas.
I feel
think
like
it's gonna
without-
come back,
Well,
it's gonna haunt you.
So it's interesting because, and I'm not throwing him under the bus. These are his words. When Scott was on our show, we didn't really talk about Consumer Day on the show, but he did bring it up, and he basically said something along the lines of, it's on hold for now. But just a few days earlier, he was on Coop's show, and he basically all but said the words, we're not bringing that idea up again. So I don't know which it is. I'll be honest, and I would love an answer from Scott on which it is. But there seem to be some alternate, realities. Some what do they call alternative facts there? So I would just love to get a definitive answer there. And the fact is, it's okay if they haven't made a final decision yet. But like I said, it seemed like there was more of a final decision on one person's show versus our show. So I'd love to nail that down a little harder because it doesn't seem like they've landed on an answer yet. So normally at this point of the show, we do notable smokables, but because we're doing some blind tastings this week, we're going to skip over notable smokables for this week. And we're going to go into our final tasting notes and a reveal of cigar number 2. So Emmett, what are your final thoughts on that cigar, and maybe a quick score, and if you have a guess at all on what it might be?
Yeah, so what I said last time pretty much still stands right now at the moment. I still have over halfway for sure, but not much has changed since the last time, but it's still really good. Still more development of that sweetness is still there, but still with the underlying kind of nuttiness and leathery. Yeah, if I had to take a guess, I would say maybe it's coming out of something from my father. It's pretty good. I would give it I'll say a 90.
Okay. All right. Garrett, what are your thoughts on cigar number 2?
Well, I've got 2 specific guesses, but before that, I will say it's tasty. It has transitioned a little bit at the end, ramped up in strength a little bit. The spice has definitely kicked up quite a bit. I would give it an 88.
So I'm in the same boat. It's kicking up with, but what I'm actually getting more of is, sometimes when you have an aroma or a flavor in a cigar that reminds you of leather, it's it's not like you're chewing on a saddle, but it's sort of that sort of sour note that reminds you of walking into a saddle shop. It has that kind of smell to it, and I'm getting a lot of that. Still some of that woodiness, but it's really more dominated by kind of this leather characteristic. And there's definitely full on black pepper in the retrohale. It's really it's not on the palate. It's just in the nose where I get a lot of that spice. I really was thinking 88 also when I swear I was thinking 88 before you said it. So I know, copycat. I'm totally copying you, but I was also going to say 88. So I'm going to stick with that. And I honestly, so Emmett, I'll say you're really, really on the money with that cigar.
Yeah.
It is the Tatuaje Nuevitas Esteli.
There we go. Yeah.
So from the My Father factory, and tasting notes wise, you were pretty much right in line.
Nice.
With the review from that we put on the website, and definitely characteristic, that you get out of the My Father factory, and a blend that we enjoy a great deal.
All
Nice.
right, my guess.
Yeah.
My first guess is Te Amo.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll say this: when I first saw the cigar, in the bag, I thought it might be the Crown Heads Court Reserve full court press.
Yeah, it does kind of look like that.
But then I lit it up and I was like, nope, that's definitely not it. And I can't even venture a guess as to what the cigar is.
My
But
second guess is 601 Blue.
601 Blue. I haven't smoked a
Look at that.
601 Blue in so long. I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't even remember the flavor profile of that cigar. But Emmett, what are we smoking here?
You guys guessed San Andreas earlier. I'm pretty sure it is San Andreas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's San Andreas. I'll start by telling you the price point. It's under $5. So, we reviewed this cigar. This was part of our Rocky Mountain Cigar Festival blind tasting where we did with all the people that attended.
Yeah.
It scored really well, and everybody that smoked it has absolutely loved it. But it's an affordable cigar. This is actually the El Artista Buffalo 10.
Oh,
Nice.
I haven't had it before. Right on.
Yeah, it smokes well above its price point. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's solid.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's it's definitely it's not
It's a
the most
single note. Yep.
not the most complex cigar in the world, but they don't all have to be.
No.
Yeah,
know,
but
it's-
for $5, I mean, come on.
Absolutely. It's pleasant to smoke. It burns like a dream. There's tons of smoke output. So I say bravo. It's definitely a good cigar. I like this one a lot. And it's not that you get some different stuff from it. It's definitely San Andreas, but you get some different stuff behind it. It doesn't have that sort of, it's not just full on like earthy, spicy San Andreas. It's also, there's some other notes going on behind it that keep it from being that textbook San Andreas wrapper.
Yeah, and that's where I was going with Te Amo.
That's actually not a bad guess.
I dig it.
Yeah, I do too.
So guys, for 2020, obviously, there's a lot of people at the TPE show, that's going on right now. It's something that I still, I wanted to go to the show definitely, but it's something that, for us as kind of a new outfit, we really kind of have to pick and choose, what we're gonna invest in. I'm not saying we're not going to go to TPE in the future, but for this year, it just, it wasn't something that we wanted to. We kind of want to get more of an idea of, what the show is going to be like as far as they continue to grow. What are your thoughts on TPE and all that?
For me, like I think Emma and I definitely were up for going. We have to pick and choose how many weeks we're allowed away from our families.
Yeah.
And TP just didn't make the cut, and then here I am traveling the entire week. If that would be TP. For us, it just depends on the show, right? Like if it keeps coming divided, I think eventually we're going to have to cover both, right? I don't think we're going to have a choice, especially if you get a lot of exclusives that come out of each show. It would be hard to only pick one or the other.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to go this year, but I think next year will be the one you want to go to, just because I think it was a little late in the game for people to commit to a booth after the fallout from PCA this year. But I think if the trajectory continues, I think you'll see a big uptick next year, and that's the one you're going to want to be at. I think a bunch of media guys are going there this year, and they're going to be like, what did we do? Because they're going to look around, and they're going to be expecting the PCA, and they're going to see TPE, and they don't really realize how small it is at the moment for premium cigars. Like, it's a big convention, but the premium cigar part of that is pretty tiny.
Yeah.
But I think next year will be a significant increase, and we'll be there for sure next year.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a feeling we will be there next year. But yeah, we wanted to let it sort of play out a little bit more. And honestly, I'm very excited to see coverage from some of the other cigar media guys and see what they, what they show us from that trade show. I'm curious to see what it's all about. But yeah, we were kind of in the same boat. I want to let it breathe a little bit more before we commit resources, to going. Because PCA, although they're having their troubles right now, it's the established leader in premium cigar trade shows.
Yeah.
And we wanted to conserve our resources for that trade show because we wanted desperately to go last year, but with closing on the house and everything, for me, the timing was poo-poo. So
It's at the Las Vegas Convention Center, right? TPE this year.
This year, TPE is at the Sands.
At the Sands.
And it begins on July 10th this year, so which is definitely better than July 5th.
Yeah.
Very curious to see how PCA goes this year. Or I'm sorry, were you asking about the TPE where it's at? Oh, yeah. I have to say I don't know. I know it's in Vegas. I just don't know exactly where.
I think it's at the convention center.
Okay. Which is it's not a bad venue. The hotel sucks, but
it's the worst.
But the venue itself, from what I remember, was fine. But TPE is back at the Sands again. And although who knows? I mean, with all these changes, maybe there's going to be a mad scramble before July, and it will actually end up being in a different place. I seriously doubt it because they can't get out of that contract.
No, I think they're set for this year.
Yeah, so.
The Sands, I'm gonna tell you a quick comment. Like I was there for AWS's reInvent, and their like show floor was the same floor that we have for PCA, and it's just a different experience being there for cigars. Tech. It's like, wow, I smoked through every bit of this building.
Did you find yourself
ravaged
every corner jonesing for a cigar?
Yes, 100%.
Guys, before we close out, give the listeners and viewers a final idea where they can find out more about Blind Man's Puff and learn about what you guys are doing.
Yeah, blindmanspuff.com. We post 3 reviews a week. We post news every day. Follow us on Facebook for contests and everything cigar related. That's it.
Awesome. For those of you listening and watching, thank you very much for giving us some of your time. We want to let you know that next week we have a great big show again. Very excited to have Glenn Loop, who is the executive director of Cigar Rights of America. He will be live on the show, and there will be something extremely unusual and special, probably never before seen on a cigar show. On next week's show. So you definitely do not want to miss that. It's going to happen live on How About That Cigar. So don't miss that. Guys, thank you so much for spending some time on the show with us tonight. We really appreciate it. Love what you guys do. Always been a fan, and I miss you guys, and continued success in the future.
Thanks for having us, buddy.
Yeah, we gotta do this again.
Yeah.
This was a blast.
Would love to do it again if you guys are up for it.
And we'll definitely have to have a drink in Vegas in July.
Most definitely.
For sure.
Most definitely. So as for all our viewers and listeners, if you ever have any questions, as always, hit us up on howaboutthatcigar.com. You can also send us questions and comments directly on Facebook. And until we see you next time, burn cigars,
not bridges.
Take care, guys. Thank you.